Welcome back, folks and friends. Connecting Dots here. It's Wednesday, January 21st, 2015. Okay, two topics in this video. Many of you may not want to watch the financial stuff. That's okay, but I want to touch on this video I uploaded just 2 days ago because I got some new information that just arrived here, fresh off the press. So 2 days ago I talked about the new mayor here in Saanich and how the Freemason police were tracking him, and yeah, well, the rest of the video went on to talk about the new mayor here in Victoria and how she's helping the bankers renovate Bankers Corner. I'm not going to get into that mayor. I'm going to get back into the mayor in Saanich because, yes sir, Bobs, the privacy commissioner is going to investigate the spyware that's been put on his computer without his knowledge, and that's what that video was all about. I also talked about how he'd been harassed by the police, stopped for no reason, given a road, breathalyzers for no reasons. His 911 call was released. The information, private information, that somehow the police got a hold of it, and it was spread about. What can I say? He's had enough here. All the tracking, the bullshit I've talked about in my previous video. It's all the fact that the Freemasons are losing their main man in Saanich. Okay, the mayor in Saanich had been there for over a century. No, I'm just kidding, but he'd been there for a long time, Frank Leonard, and the Freemasons have an agenda here in town, in the city on Vancouver Island. They want to amalgamate all the municipalities together under the city of Victoria. That's very evident. Anyone who just walks down on Government Street, they've rented a shop here because the economy is it's falling apart here in Victoria. Okay, folks, I don't know what to say how it is in your town. There's so many empty stores. I just talk to regular folks and they're like, yeah, oh yeah, we can see it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was talking about this back in 2008. Watch out, we're heading into a depression. That's how I was able to predict the exact date of the 2008 stock market crash, not because I'm a certified chart guy and financial advisor. In fact, I don't even have a high school diploma. I did it because I researched conspiracy. I'm passionate about what I do, and when I found out that this is what these Freemasons had in plan for us, I'm like, okay, hold on, time to go public here. So they're trying to amalgamate all the cities here in Victoria. They lost their main guy. The police started harassing this guy. Enough is enough, what can I say? I'm glad he spoke out. Now, what's really neat about this is that this Elizabeth Denham, who I've met here, she's a privacy commissioner here. She's been following the recent events here in the district of Saanich, and she's decided to act on her own. Yes. Hallelujah. Okay, so that's one of the things I've noticed when I went into the BC Commissioner's office here, just a couple of blocks away from where I live. Very friendly, and unlike many other government departments where they kind of like lag and just not willing to help you, I must admit the BC Commissioner people, the folks that work there, they were so hungry for my case. I'm telling you, so helpful, folks. So if you ever have a problem in Canada, go see your privacy commissioner. I hope they're as hungry as the people I've seen here in Victoria. Boy, oh boy, yes, I'm so happy she's acted on her own. She can see the bullshit through all of this. And if you may recall here, this was all about this spyware, okay, who the mayor himself had said that the spyware installation, he had no knowledge of it. Okay, no knowledge of it at all. He said right there, I did not receive any documents notifying him of the software. Okay, even though it says here that the mayor was given a form at the time his computer was installed on December 2nd, but it goes on to say no signed form has been returned by the mayor. But they went ahead and installed it anyways, and they've been tracking him, and the mayor found out. And while the local police chief, where is he there? The chief did his big investigation, and he found no wrongdoing. Chief Bob Downey. Yeah, he concluded his own criminal investigation into the software installation, told the council, no criminal act. You can track anybody without their knowledge, and it's okay. So yeah, Chief Bob is almost guarantee. I could almost guarantee that he's also a Freemason also. Remember here, it's a circle jerk of corruption with these Freemasons. Not all of them are bad people. I'm going to say that straight up. I know, like I said, I've been speaking with an old Freemason here. Very good guy, but he'll also, on the other hand, turn around and say, the Freemasons will kill you. He's not, he doesn't mince words. This is an old guy. He's been around for a long time. He met Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong. He's the one that went out to the, up in Alaska there and discovered that mountain, that pyramid underneath the, I shouldn't say he discovered. He brought Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin 70 miles northwest or northeast of Mount McKinley in Alaska, where there is this underground power structure here, a pyramid, underground pyramid that puts out enough power to produce electricity for 10 large U.S. cities. Sorry, I'm digressing, but those of you that follow me, you may recall how I've been speaking with this gentleman, and I'll be releasing that information soon. I just have to get all my ducks in a row to make sure that nothing happens to me and nothing happens to that information. Okay, so basically, what can I say? The BC Privacy Commissioner, she's on it. Heads are going to roll here because there's absolute bullshit going down, and I'm so happy this mayor is not like the rest. Okay, this is where we're getting into the financial stuff, so you may want to move along and go listen to something else. So I mentioned here how I broke my neck in 2011. I want to start playing the stocks. I have to get my finances back on track here. You know, what can I say? You break your C6, your C5, and your C4, split them right down the middle. I guarantee you, folks, if you're doing hardcore work, you won't be doing hard physical work anymore. It's, you know, if it was different, I guess, if I was 20 years old, broke my neck, but I'm a little older here. I'm in my 40s, and I just can't go back to playing the same game. So I'm trying to educate myself and play some money, get ready to play the stock market. And I'd mentioned here I joined this board. I'll get back into that in a second because I talked about the gold and silver. Many of you are into the silver and the gold scene. I'd said, oh, watch out. I believe this is just a temporary spike here, and we'll be seeing lower prices soon. And I also mentioned in my video a couple of days ago, I said, oh, that $18 range is our resistance. So let's see if we can bust through it. At this point here, I said I don't believe I'm bullish on the long term. However, anyone who's been listening, I've been saying, folks, watch out with the lower prices. That's over at the Silver Gold Man video, Silver Gold Man YouTube channel. I'd said there in that video where I think it was about the last week of 2014, I made a video, plausible 2015 scenarios for silver. And I was talking about with the lower prices, I believe that we're going to start seeing some mines closing down. And I also mentioned in that video that even the junior miners, these are young exploration companies that are going out looking for gold mines, they're even having a hard time raising funds because of the lower prices of precious metals. Nobody wants to invest when we can see it dropping lower and lower. So will it pick up with this recent spike? I don't think so. I could be wrong. As I said, I believe this is just a temporary spike in silver and gold that's brought on by the Swiss National Bank. Okay, the upset in the economy, you're seeing a sudden flight to what they have known as security. I don't think this will last forever. I could be wrong on that one, but I have a feeling it's going to go the way I was talking about, which was with the lower prices of metals, we're going to see different companies are going to start closing up here. So this story here, Rivet, is shutting down its Montana silver and copper mine. As you can see the date here, January 20th. And I want to thank the fellow that sent me this story. I'm just rather busy here doing my stock market stuff, so I don't really have time anymore to search every single little story. But anyone who's interested, you know, you can do yourself a big favor by putting a Google alert and just entering simple words like silver mine. And then every single story that hits the news regarding silver mines, you'll get it in your box. That's one of the easiest ways that I kept track of the markets and stuff. So here again, it says here that the in 2012 it had closed down due to a rock slide, and the mines only produced 27,000 ounces and 159,000 pounds of copper. So it's closing down here. They're saying here that it could reopen should prices increase, and that's what I was saying. Watch out. I believe that we're going to see lower prices in precious metals, and that would be the catapult, what would really catapult prices. Okay, I believe that there could possibly be a shortage in precious metals, especially if we see a sudden rush for safety, as we're seeing with the Swiss National Bank. All you need to do is multiply that, let's say, by 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other countries pulling off the same exact scenario as the Swiss National Bank, and I would have to say that it is game on for gold and silver at that point. And if we hit lower prices and we have these mines closing up and these juniors can't collect the cash to continue on with their explorations, and we're hit with these scenarios, banking scenarios like the Swiss National Bank, folks, I'd say it is game on. Okay, let me refresh here to see if we've done anything different since this. So not much there. Okay, so as I mentioned here, I'm getting in the stock market. I had to educate myself on well, basically how to judge a stock or not. So I'm going to finish off this video on what I see here as far as the SLV. That's the silver shares. You can see it up here. I'll leave a link to this website down the show more. It's stockcharts.com. Free charts for you to use. Okay, so many of you probably don't want to listen to this anymore. I'm getting into technical stuff. It's going to be rather boring. Okay, so the rest of you that do stick around, I'm not going to get into all of this. I mentioned how I use the full stochastic. That's my number one indicator, followed by, fast stochastic, followed by the full stochastic, followed by the MACD. I refer to them as the three musketeers. And I mentioned here, I try not to go too far out in the past, so I wouldn't do like 10 months here on this chart, especially if I'm trying to find out what's going to take place in the near future, because it just actually it's still okay, because it'll reaffirm here what I'm saying, that because we have this black line that's continuously going up here, even though it fell below the 80 mark. And if you haven't seen that video, I was talking about how if we're above 80 on the fast stochastic, sorry, I just woke up here. So if we're on the 80 mark, which is this solid black line here, and the same thing applies to the full stochastic, when you're above the 80 mark, you're in the bullish area. So you look across here where we're hitting right now, the black is still above the 80, so we would be considered bullish, and full stochastic is showing you the exact same thing. And MACD, again, it's spreading and opening up with a black line heading upwards. So that's all very good, except I believe that to have a better picture, you should make it a little narrow down the amount of time that you're looking at. And I'd mentioned how you kind of want to see the past and find out where your resistance is. And I'd mentioned that was around the $18 range. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going in closer right now so you folks can see what's taking place on a shorter time span. So as I mentioned here, we don't have a divergence. And what I mean by divergence is that once this black line here had crossed the red, as I mentioned, the red was that moving average. Once the black had crossed over it, and that was the 80 area, okay, so when you, sorry, not 80, 20. When you fall below the 20, that's considered bearish. And that's why you can see here there's a lot of selling off going off here, and it started right there where the black line fell below the red. Okay, that was your first indicator. If you're in that stock, watch out, we're going lower. And even though it jumped above the 20 mark, again, that doesn't mean we're bullish, because we're still in that bearish area. You only become bullish once you've crossed the 50 area. Okay, the 50, the dotted line, it becomes bullish. As we see right here, the black had crossed, and look up above, yes, it was game on. Now, what I was talking about divergence is the fact that this black line, even though it flattened out here and dropped below the 80, that's that solid black line, it picked back up and went above the 80 again. And what's interesting, I'd mention here, is the fact that the black is higher than the previous black. That means there's no divergence. It's still picking up. It's still game on. Precious metals, or silver specifically, should be continuing to rise. And even though the following day it fell below the black, and that would have been this day here of trading where it went red, it was still above the 80 at this point. So it would still be considered bullish. And as we saw, the following day went up higher. Now you notice that the high of the black here is higher than the previous and higher than the one before that. So there is no divergence at this point. This is continuously going up higher. How long will it go up higher? I don't know. But at this point here, it still indicates to me that we're in a bullish market for silver. However, like I said, this can change around really fast. This does not mean we're off to the moon. So what you want to pay attention to is once the black drops back down, because it will, I believe we're going to fall back down below the 80, you want to start paying attention when these lows of the black start going the opposite. So even though the price may be going a little bit higher, the black is not going above the 80 anymore. We start hitting lower lows, and that means there's a divergence in price, and I don't see that at this point right now. So I would say that we're still bullish, and the MACD again is indicating we're bullish. But remember, the bars can quickly end here, and the market can quickly change. Okay, remember that. That doesn't mean we're off to the races. If you want to buy in right now, you can, I guess. But personally, well, as I said, I had to cash out of most of my position here so I could start playing the silver market with my few $100s. Yeah. Okay, so no, I have more than $100. I got other alternatives, but I just want to let you know my silver, I didn't have a whole lot left there because I broke my neck, and that's why I got to play the stock market, try to make it back. Okay, folks, that's the end of the video. So yeah, PKA, hope silver goes to the moon, but I don't think so.